Much this window, bizarrely. I think we will do in the next couple of weeks, though. As we heard there, they're in talks to sign Jeremy Jacquet, defender from Rennes. Dan, what is the latest on this? How far down the line is it? And they value him up to what, £56 million?
Yeah, that's it.
You know,
yeah.
Why is the value so high? What's the attraction?
Well, first of all, Jeremy Jacquet, I mean, Ligue 1, plays for Reims, and, you know, he has been monitored by the biggest clubs in Europe. I mean, around £56 million, as you mentioned, Matt. And I think Chelsea are looking for a centre-back who can go straight in to their starting 11. Now, Levi Colwill, we know, is essentially out for the rest of the season with an ACL. Tostin also picked up what looked like a hamstring injury on the weekend. Liam Rosenior said we'll see how bad that is. But also, he is someone, Jacquet, that Rosenior will be familiar with, of course, being in Ligue 1. Strasbourg, played them earlier this season. And look, in terms of what could he add, I mean, he's a big 20-year-old. He's extremely good on the ball. His distribution's excellent. He's quite aggressive. I think what I would say is maybe a little bit like previous centre-backs Chelsea have signed. Slightly raw, so we'll need to develop. So I think that's the interesting aspect, is he ready to come into that Chelsea team? We'll have to wait and see.
Stephen, as a former defender, I want to get your opinion on Chelsea's centre-back situation. They're top two, isn't he? He's out for the whole season. Tossin, as you mentioned there, might have picked up a hammy in the previous game. But they've still got 5 other options. When you look at that, do you think it's an area that is holding Chelsea back from going to the next level? Or do you think they're okay there? They got the numbers, or do they need more quality?
I think Colwill, him with such a significant injury, and there's always, like, you hope and you feel like he can get back to the levels he was before, but there's always that question mark when he comes back, how long will it take him to get back to there? So replacing someone like that I think is important, that you have someone come in that you know is going to be able to steady that ship and be that solid partnership, whoever you want to build. But like, they've invested in their centre backs, but obviously not probably as heavily as they have in other areas. And I feel that Chelsea have spent so much in the forward areas. You just think they've just thrown money at those players. That have they neglected it slightly in those areas? Have they brought in the highest caliber of defenders that they want? When you look at Reece James and think of how good he is and how important he is if he plays midfield or right back, centre back pairings. You look at Arsenal. I think Arsenal have given the makeup of how to have a strong push for the Premier League is to be able to get that partnership correct, and those two have kind of given a bit of a blueprint, so we can have all the attack and threat in the world, but we don't have these two that are pinning everything together. It's not going to be solid. So Chelsea are probably looking, thinking, we need to go and invest in that area. And
I mean, you can see some of the defenders they've signed there since Clearlake came into the club. I mean, Stephen, on your point there, I mean, I think 3 of those were signed in the first kind of 2 transfer windows, with Koulibaly, Wesley Fofana, Bouyma, Bediashile. But as you mentioned, a lot of those aren't maybe starting centre-backs in the Premier League outside of that. And when you look at where Chelsea have spent their money in terms of relevance to different areas of the pitch, I mean, you can look at the average per signing when you look at the players signed. Let's say the fullbacks out of that. It does point a little bit to your point that they have underinvested in that area of the pitch. And, you know, I know, speaking to different clubs, that a lot of the sports science suggests if you invest in your attacking areas, you're more likely to go up the table and show quicker development. But I think everyone connected and who follows Chelsea would argue that the foundation of the back has been their weakness.
Yeah, it is. And I think, like I said, I think Arsenal, it's a way of seeing how that can really benefit you. You bring in a Declan Rice in front of the back 4, and you bring in those 2 centre backs, and they stay fit, and you have a real chance of pushing. And then those forward players have a bit more freedom to go and play. I think what's interesting with Chelsea is I think Palmer come in, who's so influential. I don't think anybody when he signed would have thought he was going to have the influence he has on that side. So if you get a centre back that can come in and have a similar sort of importance to that role, if it's this young lad that comes in and can come in straight away and be someone that's kind of pivotal, that's huge. But Chelsea I just think they're 1 or 2 players away from being very, very complete.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk Chelsea now. Mark, are they going to spend in this window?
Well, there's every opportunity. How many times over the course of the last sort of 4, 5, 6 window since Blueco went in to own Chelsea have we been talking about them spending money, doing business, recruiting the best young players in world football? But we know that process doesn't continue for every single window. They've got to that point where they're really comfortable with the majority of their squad. We know that there has been a number of injuries defensively. But there is one player that we can put on the radar of Chelsea fans, and his name is Jeremy Jacquet, 20-year-old, currently at Stade Rennes. And my understanding is that he is one of their main targets for centre-back. And Liam Rossini, who spent 18 months working in France, knows all of the best players in France outside of PSG. And of course, he would have been asked when he joined Chelsea, is there anyone you think we should be looking at? Is there anyone you think that actually there's a really good opportunity there because we can do it? And obviously that answer was Jeremy Jacquet. So one to keep an eye on, not necessarily for this window, but they are open to making signings if the right players are available at the right price.
Hang on a second. Maresca wanted a centre-back at the beginning of the season when Levi Colwill got injured, was told, no, you work with the players you've got. This is a massive U-turn.
I think that is the case for the prosecution.
That's me.
That's you. The case for the defence is that last summer Chelsea did try to sign a centre-back. What they want to do is sign a centre-back who is good enough to go straight into their starting 11. And last summer they were very, very interested in signing Dean Howson from Bournemouth. But at the end of the day, he decided to sign for Real Madrid. Now, they feel that there weren't that many other options available that were right for them. And you were right in saying that after Levi Colwill got injured, Enzo Maresca, who was the manager at the time, did come out and say, look, I think we need to sign a new centre-back. But Chelsea's position was, we're not going to be signing a new centre-back. You already have lots of options in your squad. This is a problem that you have to solve with the players who are available. But you are right. I understand why you are asking the questions. Asking the question that what's changed. I think what's changed is that Chelsea's squad is always evolving. They are always looking at signing players, and they're certainly looking at signing a centre-back now, if not now, in the summer. But it's got to be a player who has the qualities to start straight away.
Okay. This idea of picking young players, a lot of Chelsea fans, they're planning this protest, aren't they? Because they're saying, you're worrying about the future and not the present. Have these fans got a point? It's always tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow with Chelsea, isn't it?
I think what Chelsea are trying to do is controversial. I think, some Chelsea supporters are finding it very difficult to support it because under Roman Abramovich, you're right, they're used to buying ready-made superstars, the best players in the world. Now, the new owners of Chelsea feel that that is unsustainable. That is not the way you're going to have long-term success. And the way you are going to have long-term success is to buy the best young players in the world and give them contracts that are, not out of this world. I mean, by my standards and your standards, it is out of this world. But
not
by
box, but yeah.
but by the standards of top-class footballers. I know some Chelsea fans are frustrated. I know it takes some getting used to, but I think the owners would say, look, you have to back us. You have to support this new strategy. It's already been successful. We've won 2 trophies. We're back in the Champions League. Success is not going to be overnight. It's going to take time. Yeah. But I hear what people are saying. I hear what people are saying, that this is a squad that needs more experience. It's all well and good just signing, players for the future. Why not go out and sign the finished article? To be fair to Chelsea, I think they've looked at doing that. For instance, Virgil van Dijk. If he hadn't signed a new contract at Liverpool, there was a chance that he could have ended up at Chelsea. Even